It's just something that my voice does every once in a while when I get like sinuses or something like that, and then it doesn't get cleared all the way, it like comes back. So it's going to be like this for a long time.
Time of the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
The positive note, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to talk. So how are you
Good.
doing?
I am good. Busy day.
Well, I've been doing some more research, so this will be interesting.
Good. Good. Good.
I am very excited for this.
Good.
All right, we are gonna roll the media and then begin. So, quick question. Have you ever opened your to-do list, looked it dead in the face, and then immediately decided that reorganizing your desktop, deep diving on YouTube, or starting a completely unrelated side quest was actually the better life choice? Yeah, same. And that's exactly why this week on Basically Unbothered, we're talking about something that doesn't yell at you to wake up at 5 a.m. or just be more disciplined like some productivity drill sergeant. We're talking about A Pinch of Productivity, the secret sauce for motivation by Don Turner. Because instead of shaming you into being productive, it gives you the pinch framework: pressure, interest, novelty, challenge, and humor. Translation: you're not lazy, your brain is just bored. This is about learning how to work with your brain instead of fighting it so you can actually finish the things you keep putting off without turning your life into a boot camp montage. So if your motivation bar has been sitting at low HP for a little too long, go check out A Pinch of Productivity wherever books are sold. And maybe, just maybe, we'll finally finish one task before starting 5 new ones. All right. Hi, Unbothered fam. Welcome back to another episode of Basically Unbothered. And we're doing things a little differently today. We are joined by guest Randall Ray.
Hey, Ray.
Hello. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Randall Ray. I am a business coach for women entrepreneurs, helping them get their, passion projects, side businesses, whatever it is, off the ground. I specialize in startups, a serial entrepreneur myself, and overall, just really passionate about women empowerment. And I think that that ties into so many aspects of life, which is kind of what brought us together.
Yeah.
I am uh, unfortunately very well versed in narcissistic abuse and everything like that, through a lot of
Hmm.
my own therapeutic journey, and see a lot of the stuff that's come out on the internet recently. And
Hmm.
that's what's brought us here to talk about what's going on.
Just drop the most amount of smoothie. I'm the worst. Why does this always happen to me? And it's going to be stuck there for a while. I love this for me. No, I'm so excited. I also have a lot of information I've dived into with things like domestic abuse and narcissistic abuse and everything like that. And, you know, I reached out on social media because I was looking to get people to talk about this subject with me because I think that, while we're looking at this, I did an episode last week on Taylor Frankie Paul and just kind of the information that came out. But I wanted it to be, I wanted to be clear that first of all, we're not like excusing anyone's behavior, but I think that all behavior comes from a place. And, there's this insane villainization of Taylor Frankie Paul right now, which
It's
it's like crazy to see just how many people want to hate her, Like that part is just really interesting to me. They don't want to hear the stories. They don't want to hear the information. They only want to like dislike her. They only want her. And I've had conversations about this before about sometimes I feel like I'm not me. I'm like a representation of something. So I've also spoken out, against domestic violence and all those things. And people stop treating me like I'm a human being and like I'm a figurehead.
Mm.
And I think like, and we discussed this, I think that Taylor Frankie Paul is just the new figurehead and is what people are trying to use as like the new Amber Heard, right? They want to use her to prove that women do this too and women are evil and they're, the downfall of men and look at all of them hurting them. And I think even examining the so-called male loneliness epidemic right now.
It is not severe enough.
Oh my God. I saw someone post on social media, no lie. They post on social media and they go, um, the female loneliness epidemic is coming. And I said, it's almost as if that was the point.
Right.
Like, it's almost as if when we stood up and said, if we don't have reproductive freedoms, we're not reproducing.
If you didn't vote for me to have rights to my vagina, can I say that on here? I don't.
Absolutely. Oh, you can say whatever
You
you
don't
want.
you don't get to enter it, period.
No. And so, as the world tries to figure out what is happening, why are the men being this way and everything like that, and bro podcasts exist. I think that Taylor Frankie Paul has just become the new spearhead for a campaign for soft feminism, or not even soft feminism, but just soft femininity and all kinds of things. We're going to talk about all of the subjects at first, but like wider grasp of things. Let's start from the beginning. So Taylor Frankie Paul was going to be the Bachelorette. Were you going to watch the season?
A season of The Bachelorette in my
Hmm.
entire life, or The Bachelor.
Hmm.
I've also never watched Dancing with the Stars, and I
Hmm.
did watch it because of the Secret Lives cast. And I also would like to level set and say that
Hmm.
I watch Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I'm not an obsessive fan, and I can objectively say I don't even think I like Taylor Frankie Paul. I
Hmm.
don't wanna be her friend. This isn't like a I think she no wrong type of
Yeah.
thing. You know what I mean? This is not a fangirl thing. Do I find the show to be very entertaining? Yes. So,
Hmm.
to answer your question, I was probably going to watch it, having never watched a single season in my entire life.
I think so. I love Secret Lives. I followed Taylor Frankie Paul before it came out. So I've been with her when she was just making the like ghost videos and she was making the videos with her former husband and it was just really cute. Um and then the swinging scandal broke. And I'm a big proponent of just like owning your shit. And that is one of the things, like her or not, that she does. And
Yes,
which is why this whole situation is so like fascinating to me
it is.
because they're trying to make it seem as if she's like this secretive, evil, bad guy trying to make Dakota look like he's a horrible person. And it's like, no, I'm pretty sure she's been pretty open about her like role
Yeah,
in things. But I would actually like to, but I'm a Sagittarius and apparently Sagittariuses and Geminis can be really good friends as long as there's like an honesty kind of thing and they're like a little bit more involved. The chaos that I see in her, because remember, she maybe just turned 30, but when all this
maybe.
started, she was in her 20s. She's
Yeah.
young
Mhm.
and she had her kids young. And, there, that plays a really big part in this. But I'm always going to stand by someone who says what they say and stand by it 100%. Right. And that is something that you see from the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, whether you like her or not. Whether you think, and I don't think that everything that she does is right. I think that this last like situation was really hard. And it reminded me so much of me when I was in that toxic relationship. It was really hard to watch. And
Mhm.
you just kind of want to like choke her and not choke her. Real life guys don't come for me, but you just want to like shake her and be like, get out of this.
And anybody that's ever supported a friend going through that
Hmm.
knows that feeling. Like, what can I do to make them wake up? Like you do. You just wanna slap them and be like, "What are you not seeing?" And they
And
say that on the show to her. Her friends are like,
yeah.
"Why do you keep doing this?" And she acknowledges, like, it's like a drug.
Yeah, but, like, that's the thing that I love about her is that she's not like, "Oh, well, it's great when it's great." She's like, "No, no, I know I'm addicted to this. I just can't get out of it. Like, I'm
Mhm.
trying, and then somehow I wake up in the morning and he's in my bed again." Um, I also was gonna watch The Bachelorette, by the way. I'm not a big fan of The Bachelorette. From my research, I learned that Taylor Frankie Paul was their Hail Mary
I saw
because
that
the
their ratings
franchise
were
is dying. Yeah.
yeah,
And, that also like the
choice
Golden
of a Hail
Bachelorette.
Mary too. I mean, that's the thing. Can we go back to that for a second? That, like,
Yeah.
these allegations and accusations and everything
Mhm.
stemming from this tape is not new information. For
No.
those of us that watched season 1, episode 1, is the video nice to see? No, of course not. But for people that had been following this, it wasn't surprising.
I You know what? Honestly, I've had this conversation with a friend and, she was like, it's really hard to see. And you know what? Honestly, the video is a perfect place to like start and examine the behavior. So for those who don't know, Taylor Frankie Paul was going to be the new Bachelorette. She did so much promotion. She was on Call Her Daddy, which was huge. Um, she's being credited by some people as the reason why reality TV is coming back, like, outside of the Kardashian,
Which I feel like
thing.
is kind of dying out in a lot of ways, so
It is. I mean, like, honestly, I still wanna know, but I usually use it
I'm
as a
still
binge watch thing.
up, but not the same way I used to.
Yeah, like, not
Because
obsessively.
they're not
Like,
as relatable anymore. It's not reality.
right, and you know what? They know that. Like, I'm
Mhm.
listening to podcasts where, Kim Kardashian was also on Call Her Daddy, and they ask her about how much money she spends on glam, and she's like, "I'm gonna be honest, like, I don't that number isn't a number I think about and it's going to be crazy absurd, but that's because the money that I make is not, like I don't know how much money I spend on groceries because that's not like a thing for me anymore. You know what I mean?" And she's like, "That's just my life. Obviously, that's not how everybody is living, but that is my reality now."
Mhm.
Um, so she goes on Call Her Daddy. She is the head of this very wildly crazy successful reality TV show, which is The Secret Life of Mormon Wives, which really brought back like reality into reality TV. Um, Although I will say season 4 did start to remind me a little bit of those like gimmicky, like the pickleball tournament was really gimmicky. And the week of her press for the release, I had like a person, me and my friend were gonna cover the Bachelorette, already talked about it, already announced it. Everybody was set. I mean, and I'm not talking the contestants, the produce, everything was set. And then TMZ gets a leak that Taylor Frankie Paul has been involved in another domestic violence situation. Now, to clarify, the situation was reported on February 23rd and February 24th. The TMZ leak was not obtained into last week.
Yes. Coincidence? I think not.
I can't wait to tell you about some of the research I've been doing because it's like insane. So that starts this spark again. I want to be very clear. I don't stand for domestic abuse. And I personally believe that we are seeing a celebrity version, not as insane, not as crazy, but a resurgence of that Amber Heard, Johnny Depp situation. And I've said this before. My biggest grievance against Amber Heard in that situation was that she made herself seem as if she was the sole victim. I never didn't believe that they both were just really toxic
Toxic.
to
Yeah.
each other and abusive to each other. I've never believed that. My only issue with the situation was that she made it seem as if she was the survivor, the victim, and he was the abuser. And that's obviously wasn't the case. I
Mhm.
think that it would have been better. Maybe it wouldn't have been what she was looking for, but I think it would have been better to come out and say, I've been in a cycle of abuse where I contributed to and was, you know what I mean? I think that that's a more realistic story,
Yeah.
and I
Which
think that
is which is exactly what Taylor Frankie Paul does, though. She takes
Yes.
accountability, she owns her actions, and now they're using all the podcasts against her
Mhm.
where she took accountability for her actions.
Which is
So
crazy
you're
because people
doing
want
it.
accountability. They're like
Exactly.
they're like, "She needs to take accountability," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, have you guys not been paying attention?" Like,
They're literally not.
it's been such a frustrating thing to watch, but okay, so though that allegations get released, everyone's speculating like, "Oh, this is really weird timing." Also because from things that I've learned, TMZ has people that stay watching court dockets. So anytime a report gets filed, TMZ has someone watching it. So they know when it gets filed. That's how they get all this information really quickly. So it's interesting to me that the filing was February 23rd and 24th, which means that it should have broke around that time, but it didn't. Another interesting thing to note is that TMZ also usually reaches out to the parties involved. So it is interesting because if, let's say, they reached out to Taylor Frankie Paul and Dakota, one person is like, I don't have a comment. One person's like, how about we organize? Because that's exactly what happened. A
Mhm.
little bit after the that came out, there was a text message or a screenshot of Taylor Frankie Paul calling him 150 times. By the way, yeah, there's so Jesse Draper from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives just did her Call Her Daddy podcast. I've listened to most of it. I got the information that was involving Taylor Frankie Paul listened to. There was a specific reason why she was calling him so many times. It wasn't just like she had hit like a crazy rant. I can't remember the exact reason, but there was a very specific reason. And I think essentially it was like, I'm going to do this or something, and then like she freaked out.
Mhm.
Um,
Which, if you watch the show, we know she does not manage her strong emotions well.
well,
That's
no.
not again, not new information, and just going back to the fact that The Bachelorette knew all of this, ABC and
Mhm.
Hulu know this about her before selecting her as the Bachelorette.
She's a lovable crush out, and I
Mhm.
love it. I mean, it it's great TV. I do love, in season 4, for instance, when she found out, and I do wanna bring that into talk when we start talking more about this, but in season 4, when she found out that Dakota was sleeping with her friend, who she was, like, going out of her way to console after a situation happened to said
Yeah.
friend, and that said friend was like,
That friend was sleeping with a married man.
right. And then that said friend decides to repay Taylor Frankie. Like, I want she's a lovable crash out because she's not crashing out for no reason. She's just not regulated. But she has every reason to crash out. She just doesn't know how to like reel it in.
Yeah.
Right? And
And
I love
she doesn't care when she's in that state, and she says it on the show, "I'm reactive, I'm gonna react."
like if you don't want me to react, don't do shit.
Right.
And, like, that has to be and what she also does is after she reacts, after she calms down, she takes accountability. When they were sitting down, they were shooting in the promo for season 4, she's like, "Hey, guys, I'm so sorry." And her friends had a right to be like, "I'm gonna be a little bit more skeptical about this in the past." But
Yeah.
it's, that situation was hard anyways, like, because I categorically disagree with the way that they handled it when they knew. I think that I understand them trying to protect her, but I've been on both sides, right? I've been the friend that's in a toxic cycle, and I've been a friend trying to stop the toxic cycle. And one of the things that I learned both ways is you cannot convince your friend to do anything. And trying to hide something, lie about something, keep something a secret from someone who's in that cycle is only going to isolate them from you.
It is. It's very challenging to navigate though, because I saw where they're trying to come up with a time when it will destroy her the least.
Right.
When she can kind of like when she won't make herself look as bad for her reactivity. You know, they
Hmm.
were talking through different scenarios. So I think it's another damned if you do, damned if you don't
Yeah.
situation.
I think that you just shouldn't I don't think you
And that
should
they
baby
should have
step people.
mentioned it way sooner, maybe before the rest of the group even knew.
I think that I get there are very few people. I'm gonna context. I had a friend. She was cheating on her husband. I knew. Now her husband wasn't my friend. So it was a little bit of different situation, but I knew, right? Her husband was really, really mad at me, disproportionately, but he was. One day, he's not my favorite person in the world, but I am also like Taylor Frankie Paul, take accountability. One day I met with him. We were at like a convention and I was like, you know what? I do want to apologize because me protecting my friend hurt you. And like I wish that Miranda would have come from like, but again, they're young. They don't really know. I wish she would have come from that place. But it is a hard situation where you're like, who do I protect? And I've kind of just learned over time, like I'm not keeping your secret. If you have a secret that involves somebody else that I know and I'm really close with, don't tell me.
Mhm.
Don't tell me. Because no matter how much I love you, I'm going to stand up for what's right.
Mhm.
And the part that I didn't like the most was when Miranda sat down with all of them,
Mhm.
including what was her name? Layla? I can't remember. No, that's
I
not
wanna
Layla.
call her Jade, but I don't think that's right.
I don't whatever her
Ju
name was.
I don't know.
Yeah. When 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 she sat on that information for a really long time, and then they knew Dakota. They knew Dakota, and like this is the part where like people aren't paying enough attention. They knew
Mhm.
Dakota. They knew that Dakota would do anything to make Taylor hit self-destruct. That's why they were so worried. I think again, hindsight's 2020. If it were me, I would be like, we're gonna have a girls' trip immediately. Like you get back, or you know what, all of us are gonna hunker into the house for the night
Something. Yeah.
and then do something crazy. Like we're all gonna put our phones down. We're all gonna just enjoy each other and then tell her and then just let her crash out in a safe and like I get trying to like
I do feel like
minimize.
they were trying to do that, but then the fact that they were gonna tell her at, like, that public event was a
Well, like,
that
yeah, we're gonna have her sit down and meet with her.
right.
Like, I promise you, there's no way. I would have been like, Taylor, as soon as you fucking land, you're coming over our house. Like the meeting that they had, she just would have been invited.
Yeah, exactly.
And because I think that again, hindsight, right? What she needed from them was companionship and for if and trust, right? Like this is one of the things she says a lot. I just can't trust. I have a hard time trusting.
Yeah, she had to feel supported, like, they were coming
Right.
to her with the information because they have her back, not because she's gonna find out some other way.
And I think that that was the bigger issue. And I love how Taylor takes accountability for it. I wish some of the girls took a little bit more of being like, you're right. That wasn't the best way to do it. And we really should have thought better about Dakota just trying to get to you. Because what probably happened, because what I also learned about on the Caller Daddy podcast, and there's more that just haven't, it's the way that this media storm is going right now. It's like, it's too much to consume at, like, what do you mean?
It is.
Dakota and Jordan, Jesse's husband, who she's separated from now, they've been colluding together for
Mhm.
what appears to be months.
Yeah.
Confirmed by Jesse. Jesse said that Jordan was coaching Dakota,
I don't
helping him.
know I don't know what's worse for Dakota to coach Jesse or Jesse to coach
Jordan,
Jordan.
yeah, it's like, yeah, it's insane. Um, but okay, back to our timeline. So Dakota starts posting these things, giving TMZ like inside scoops, screenshots. People are trying to say it's not Dakota doing it. It's not Dakota doing it. We now have mostly I'm like the confirmation isn't coming from Dakota, but there are the Vile Files did a podcast with someone else and she confirmed some information about TMZ because then the video comes out.
Mhm.
Um, which is now video storm. It's like insane the amount of video that TMZ has obtained about this one incident that should not be public.
Especially because it did involve a child, it's shocking that they didn't seal that.
It it's because they obtained that document straight from Dakota. Confirmed.
Exactly. And if it wasn't him, it was somebody in
In
his
his camp.
yes, 1,000%. And how long had he been holding that against her?
3
That and
years.
he has other things. He has nudes and sex and all the things and
Yeah.
probably other videos that's just likely the most severe and the incident that we, again, already knew about. But when you think about how she interacts with him on the show, it does make a little bit more sense considering the fact that he's dangling these things against her for the last 3 years.
He's like he's so manipulative. Like, you see it you see it on the show, right? Um, you see it in the way that he, like, tries to isolate her from her family, and her family did some of it too, like, to b to
Well,
pay
her
attention.
is an issue in and of itself, and it does not excuse, but explains a lot of her behavior because that girl has no self worth. She does
Mm-mm.
not love herself. She does not value herself. And why would she, considering the way her family treats and speaks to her? So when your own family of origin treats you that way, it is not surprising to accept the bare minimum in romantic relationships or think these kinds of toxic patterns are normal because they're the same toxic patterns that her mother
You
has raised her with.
right, and, you take into account that her mother had her when she was really young,
Mhm.
so her mother was a very young mother. Um, she didn't have a relationship with her father. You learn in season 4 that her father was a drug
Yeah.
addict. Um, her other siblings, her brother and her sister, they're her half siblings. So she was raised in a house with dad, the
Yeah.
the
Stepdad.
right, but she calls him like she's like,
Right.
"That's my dad," which is really hard, right? Because as much as you love him and he loves you, he's not your father. And like
Mhm.
that's kind of really complicated. But she also grew up in this family dynamic where she was always the other.
Yeah. She's the scapegoat black sheep.
She's a
100.
scapegoat, she's the black sheep, you know? The rest of the family is inherently a family, and
Mhm.
she's the child from a different marriage.
Yeah.
And whether you think that doesn't affect a person's psyche, it does specifically when you do not go above and beyond to make that child feel 100% included. And I don't think that her family I think that her family tried to love her and care for her the best that they knew how. And that's an important thing. We're talking about the Mormon religion. We're talking about a religion that has been viewed as a cult, that has had so many issues, true crime stories, the podcasts been about it. It's not, we want this situation to be so simple, but it's not. Getting to the video, that's another a topic of we want this video to be so simple. We want it to be, she's terrible. The first time I watched the video, I had to turn it off. Not because it was like, again, I want to state that rarely do we even see celebrities videos of them abusing someone.
Mhm.
Like, that's just not something that's released. You might see before the incident, you might see bits of the incident, but you don't see the full incident, which is, again, something that I really truly think should remain private. I've heard so many people talk about this. Like, this shouldn't be something that the general public should be consuming.
Mhm.
Without there's no trigger warning,
Yeah.
there's no conversation. You're just sharing this media with the ignorance of who it's gonna really affect and hurt. And I blame Dakota for that 100%. His goal isn't to, like, when some men come out with this and they've been abused, their goal is to raise awareness. His goal isn't he's not even mentioned
His goal was to destroy the Bachelorette premiere, which is exactly what
what that
happened.
video did.
And
Yeah.
she says it on the show. She wasn't able to enjoy the Mormon Lives premiere because that's
Any of
when
them.
first incident came out, and now she's not able to enjoy the Bachelorette one, or she didn't say it on the show. I think she said it in a separate
She said
interview.
it in an interview. Yep.
Yeah, because of this. And if, for everybody that's just so quick to blame her because of her wrongdoing, again, I'm not saying there was not wrongdoing
Mhm.
on her behalf. I would be blind to not acknowledge her behavior in the video.
Right.
But everybody's so quick to jump on the pointing fingers, but look, 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 because it's like easier for them to see.
Mhm.
And if these people have never known and borne witness to an abusive narcissist, I love that for them.
I
So jealous.
legitimately posted that. I posted that. I
I'm
was like,
so jealous.
"I'm
But
so
may
happy that you guys don't know." Like
Right. I love that you don't know what this is like. But
Mhm.
maybe take a beat and say, I've never been in a domestic violence situation, whether that's physical or emotional abuse. Like what so many people don't realize too is that a man not letting you leave the house, not letting you take your children with you when and where you want to go. That's abuse.
Mhm.
Breaking your things in front of you, throwing things towards you, even if it doesn't hit you.
Mhm.
That's abuse.
Mhm.
A lot of people feel like it has to be an open palm or a closed fist or leave a cut or a bruise or some blood for it to be abuse. And
There's a
that's
creator.
not the case.
Yeah, there's a creator who said that she experienced both physical, emotional, and she would rather have physical than emotional
Mhm.
because emotional, you have to rewire your brain after it
E
got rewired.
exactly. I'm actually listening to Christina Applegate's book right now, You with the Sad
Mhm.
Eyes. I'm only about 60% finished. Absolutely fantastic. And she says, and obviously I'm paraphrasing,
Mhm.
but as it relates to her relationship with her alcoholic father, or maybe it was a stepfather of some sort, I can't remember exactly. That she says, I used to wish he would just hit me because then I could say, he hit me, somebody please come take me away.
Yeah.
It was so much emotional and psychological abuse. And you, can't articulate that as a child, but even so many adults don't have the words. And especially when they're suffering the abuse of a narcissist,
Mhm.
there's so many little things over time that are truly impossible to explain and articulate with words if you're not living that behavior yourself. And again, if you never have, love that for you. I hope
You're
you never do.
mm-mm. And I think that's important thing is like, the first thing I noted in this video now it's interesting,
No, you're good.
TikTok stays undefeated. There's a clip that it's released on TMZ now that shows the police coming into her home,
Hmm.
which is interesting when you watch the video. Because when you watch the video, you see the door and he's like walking to the garage door.
Hmm.
And he's trying to say, let me out, let me go. What you don't know is that the where he's backing up towards, there's another door. There's the front door.
So he was really trapped.
So he was really trapped.
Right.
Also, never in my life have I seen someone try to record with one hand
If they're
while
really
being abused.
threatened.
If you're
Yes.
really if you are really physically threatened, I want to guarantee this is why it's so hard to get people on domestic violence is because there is no video evidence.
Hmm.
9 times out of 10 when you are pressing record. Now some of it like a lot of emotional abuse you can press record and get because you're not worried for your physical safety, right? So we see people get those or sometimes you see someone was recording and it just happened. He's recording, antagonizing her. You are not if a good lawyer worth his salt would be like, there's no way you were actually worried about your physical being. Because if you were worried about your physical being, you would have put the phone down. You would have never recorded in the first place.
He was really worried about that child's safety. he'd be standing in front of the child to protect the child, not to the side of the child holding a phone.
Getting closer and closer to her. We all knew that, like, even her family said she would have never hurt that child intentionally. And
No.
that's another thing I needed to be saying. Everybody's like, this is child abuse. This is child abuse. To be clear, abuse indicates an intentionality. Are there accidents that happen? Yes. Those accidents are then considered not child abuse. So, for instance, if mommy and daddy are in a fight, the kid gets hurt, that's not considered abuse. The parents aren't abusing the kid got it in this situation. She had no intentionality of hurting her daughter at all. But Dakota had intentionality of putting her daughter in the middle.
Yeah.
And finally, where you see him standing, where she's throwing the chairs, he could walk out the front door. He doesn't have to walk to the right as we see him do towards her daughter. He doesn't have to do that. He could literally just leave.
Also, I think she's what, 5'5"? Maybe
Maybe.
100 pounds, 110.
Dude, I guarantee you that woman is small. She's
She's tiny. They're all tiny. And
five,
then
6 years old.
he's gotta
I mean,
be
sorry, 5'6". She's
yeah,
5'6" height.
and he's gotta be at least 6'2",
Yeah.
and I don't know men's weight, but not 100
I would
pounds.
I would definitely, let's see. I don't think they have his Dakota's height. I don't know if they have it. 6'2". They estimate that he is 6'2" and weighs about 195. Taylor Frankie Paul's height. They 5'6" and 99 pounds.
There you go.
So you have 100 pounds and what, 6, 7 inches over her?
Right.
And you want me to, like, I want to be clear. There are men in situations that do get abused by
Yes, this
women
is
that are
not
small.
taking away from the men that have been abused by women or other men or anything.
And
This
I think
is
that that's
saying
so
that this
important.
is not that.
People, when we're defending, and not really defending, but explaining Taylor Frankie
Mhm.
Paul, they're like, men are victims of domestic violence. Yeah, they are 100%. But do not have Dakota as your spokesperson.
Exactly. Exactly.
This is not the person you want to rally. I promise you, this is not the person you want to rally behind.
Mhm.
Now, an interesting thing is also what shouldn't have been released is the body cam from the arrest.
Mhm.
A lot of people have been comparing it to the body cam from the Gabby Petito case.
Yeah.
Seen a lot of that. You witness Taylor taking accountability for her actions, but also explaining what led up to it. So that is when you learn that Dakota actually had pushed her and shoved her in the garage.
To her in the garage.
I didn't know. I've heard about the locked her. The locked her was on the.
Locked her in the garage, and even the 911 call that circulated, have you heard that? The
I
neighbor
haven't.
says somebody needs help, and it's not really clear if he's saying he or she needs help, but it's implied that it's her because the caller says, "I think someone's locked in the garage or trying to get out." And so it's like the caller is clearly calling because someone can't get out. And she's like, the garage door keeps opening and closing. Like he keeps toying with her, like when you push it, opens a little bit, closes a little bit, like that
Yep.
type of thing.
He drove her. So she was already drinking. She had had 2 miscarriages in the past couple of months, which fucks with your hormones, right? This is on the helm of her swinging scandal and her divorce, which happened really quickly. She
Not
had
in a
to
good
justice. No, she had to justice so many things, and she went out with her girls and she was drinking. And she's like, I really don't drink a lot. And honestly, the girl, again, 99 pounds, she can't drink that much. So she probably,
she's to the wind.
so he picks her up. Now, this is interesting. He picks her up from her friend's house. They're supposed to go to a concert. By his account and her account, he cussed her out the entire ride home. I have sat while a man has been racist to me and not said anything because he was intoxicated. I'm not about to argue with an intoxicated person. That's stupid. That's dumb. Like legitimately. But instead of coming to that knowledge, she decides this is the perfect time to push all her buttons when her inhibitions are down, when she's not in her right mind. He decides this is the time to push all her buttons to let her know that, you're a great example. Look at you getting drunk or whatever. Dakota, shall we forget that you used to be an addict? And some people suggest that you are still, in fact, using.
Right.
Um, and he does all of this and then it gets the camera and presses record.
Mhm.
When, and this is why it's called like reactive abuse. When she's all amped up, when she's not saying anymore. And in that video, you can clearly see she's not okay.
Right. She says she's not okay.
I'm not okay. I'm hurting. You did this to me. You hurt me. This is all your fault. And you hear him very calmly, by
Mhm.
the way. Look at you, Taylor. Haha, look at you. This is who you are. This is what you do. My least favorite line in that video is all you do is hurt me. All you ever do is hurt me. If you guys don't recognize that, that is a classic emotional abuse
Yeah,
saying,
manipulation. Yeah.
this is your fault. All you're doing is hurting me. While they're hurting you, they're going to make you think that you're the perpetrator. And so when I finally watched the video all the way through, the first thing I felt was sadness and pain.
Mhm.
This is a woman who's really in pain. And, some people might argue what you're talking about the call, but in the video, you see the police show up. There's no way that this 3-minute video, someone called the police in that time and the police showed up. Like that's it.
Right,
When,
like, it had been going on for some time. Yeah.
yes, yes. To the point where, the neighbors originally thought that maybe it was an argument and then they got concerned because the behavior escalated. So when we're looking at this very small clip, no one's being like, where's the rest of it? What happened before this? Why did the police show up? And you know what? The Gabby Petito case and this case both happened in Utah. When you see the body cam footage of them interviewing and talking to Taylor Frankie Paul, she says very alarming things and we talked about this when we were meeting, that any therapist, psychiatrist, social worker would have flagged immediately and had her go get evaluated.
Mhm.
But they don't. These male police officers in Mormon, Utah
Right.
almost get off on the fact that she is doing this. She even asked one time, if we both touched each other, why am I the one getting arrested? Like, she says it, if we were both physical, and she admits to her physicality, if we were both physical, why am I the only one being arrested?
Exactly.
Meanwhile, they're telling Dakota, I've seen the body cam footage of them tell Dakota, you're the victim here.
Yeah.
The same thing that they did in the Gabby Petito case. You're the victim here. And
Yeah.
these officers are getting off on this female potentially being, the abuser.
Yeah. And to your point, he knows how intoxicated she is. I'm assuming he hasn't been drinking or isn't as intoxicated, you
Mhm.
know? And to your point, instead of him saying, this isn't the time for us to discuss all these issues while she's clearly inebriated, he takes it as the opportunity, knowing how poorly she's going to react, knowing how, reactive she can be by her own admission.
And because in the video, he says, you do this all the time. So
Mhm.
let, let's be clear, a behavior that you see, not in all cases, in reactive abuse, it looks a little bit different, but if the behavior that you see by someone who is being abused is that their immediate response, 9 times out of 10, is to de-escalate the
Mhm.
situation. They're trying to do things, and this is coming from my own experience. They are trying to do things originally to stop it, and then at a certain point, they can't anymore, right? So Dakota, if Taylor Frankie Paul was really this abusive monster to him, he would have not been antagonizing her.
It would not, but no, if he was really in fear of physical danger or
Yeah,
any type of harm, really, absolutely not.
it would never happened.
Now,
Like,
I wanna talk for a second about, like, the term reactive abuse.
okay.
I'm a big therapy girly, know a
Mhm,
lot of words. This one was newer for me, which
mhm,
again, I feel a little bit blessed that I haven't had to go down the reactive abuse, therapy journey, you know?
mhm,
But on social media, we see a lot of people just up in arms trying to toss out the buzzword, you know?
right.
So as somebody that can kind of say, "Hey, I didn't even know much about this term until a week or so ago,"
Yeah,
let's just talk for a second, taking the label out of it.
mhm,
And what I want people to just, and again, if you've never been in this situation, great. But even recently, I was walking a dog and a very dangerous man approached me and was very, very hostile to me. And
I've
I
had
was,
this experience too.
yes, and I was able to get away safely. Luckily, I had a very large and reactive dog with me. I'm a dog walker. I don't have my own right now, so level setting that. And luckily, I didn't have the Shih Tzu I had had 24 hours before. So I felt safe enough. I've taken self defense classes recently in the last, 6 months, and
Mhm,
I need to just get away, to just get to a safe distance. And as soon as I turned the corner, knew I wasn't being followed anymore, I called the police. Let's say for a second, he would have kept following me. Let's say he would have gotten closer. Let's say the dog would have cowered or he kicked the dog or whatever, and if I would have become physically in danger, like the first thing they taught us in the self defense class is to start screaming, get in your stance,
mhm.
and even act crazy if you, because that could, like, your crazy behavior could
Saved your
deter
life.
their aggressive behavior, like, "Oh, I don't wanna mess with her. She's got some screws loose," you know what I mean?
Mhm,
So, let's just say in any situation then, somebody's doorbell camera all of a sudden catches me acting a fool, have not seen the 3 blocks that he was following me for, and the obscene how terribly he was screaming at me, a few minutes prior, you know what I
mhm.
mean? So it's like, again, let's just take the label away because I think labels are just triggering for
Some
people to
people, yeah.
use another trigger word, but, and just think for a second that if you're feeling physically threatened, and
Mhm,
she had just been locked in a garage, not even factoring in the emotions and the fact that you love this guy and, all this stuff, which if any woman on the planet can say that they've never done one thing in a relationship that they don't regret, whether they sent that text or made that drunk dial or regret sending the nudes or whatever it is, like, come
mhm.
on. So you're going to take your lowest time in a relationship when you're feeling physically threatened, and then you're going to record me.
It's it's diabolical, that concept. I've actually had that same situation with my own dog. He was not reactive, my little dog was, but they didn't respect my little dog, which is why I got a bigger dog.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't have him anymore. I have to give him up, but he's being loved by a beautiful family. But he was just the biggest teddy bear. Like he was a bully pit husky mix. He should scare everybody. He kind of did, but he
Yeah.
was the biggest teddy bear. And so this guy was coming up to me. He's like, "Can I pet your dog?" And I also started being crazy. Luckily for me, I was walking my dog in my usual route, and it was in the, like, warmer months, and so there was a guy sitting on his porch, and when the person, because by the way, this man is following me while I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, "Get away
Yeah.
from me. No. Stay the fuck," like, I'm cussing, I'm making a scene, right? His group of male friends are behind him, not doing anything, and I'm talking, like, 7, 8 deep. And it wasn't until he saw me walk past this older man that he left me alone. And then I noticed that they were trying to find me.
Mhm.
And, like, that's it, like those are like real situations where we're talking about like you see my reaction immediately. Not to use the reactive abuse term, but just to explain and I'll use my unfortunate things. So maybe people can understand. People are gonna judge. You can judge all you want, but I'll tell the story. I was with a liar and a cheater. And I want to be clear because I think that people think that I dislike this person that was a liar and a cheater. I think that he was a good person. I think he was a bad boyfriend.
Mhm.
And I think that he had a lot of stuff that he had to work through. We met when we were really young. Anyways, I was a liar and cheater, full blown relationships. So this is what people don't understand is lying and cheating is still emotional abuse
Mhm. No,
because you are tearing somebody down, making them believe your lies, and then as soon as they catch you, you're like, no, no, you're literally using manipulative tactics to continue this thing. Um, the last the last person that he was with, the one that made me walk away eventually, was we worked at the same place together, and I was totally against it. Um, and he started messing around with a girl that was one of my closest friends at the job. Not my closest, but closer. She, while messing around with him, knowing who he was, because we kept it a secret for the most part, but she knew, she would message me. She would have conversations with me. She would talk about how she thinks that we are perfect together. When I thought I was pregnant, I messaged her. And she was like, oh my gosh, you guys are going to be so great. I can't wait for you to have kids. All kinds of shit. She would ask me advice on the dude that she was dating. I had asked her several times if it was my guy, and she was like, I would never do that to you. You guys are perfect together. I found out one day that we were on the same softball team, everything. And so this starts a situation that is not good, right? This is at my emotional low. What happened after that was just emotional abuse on both of their parts. And the people that were involved. So she tells me we have a sit down conversation. She says some wild shit about how she still thinks that we belong together, but she can't walk away. I'm like, that's stupid. The next day we have to work together. And I take, because everybody's like, why can't she just be silent? Why can't she? The next day, I just didn't say anything to her.
Mhm.
And my friends were like, you are being so mean to her. You are hurting our feelings by not talking to her. And I'm like, are you insane? Me not talk because I'm trying not to be reactive, right? I'm like, me
It's
not
just
talking to
better
her
for everybody.
is the best thing for everybody. We go to play softball the next day. He doesn't show up. She does. That's wild. You both should have not showed up. Like you
Yeah.
guys, your dirt just came out. Um, I got kicked off softball after that night because I was making people feel uncomfortable because I kept to myself. So when people are like, "Oh, you can just be quiet," and no, when you're in a situation like that, no matter what you do, someone's going to make you feel crazy for it. So then I started reacting to what people would give me, right? So she would say things to me and I would react and I would post on social media and I'm like, I want to be clear. I was crazy. I was
Yeah.
enraged. I was super emotional. I didn't feel like I had anyone to talk to. Everybody's like, can't you just leave him? Can't you just walk away? And I'm like, it's so hard. It's so difficult. At that point, we were together for 8 years. Um, we had been through so much. And then I remember I like blocked. I thought I blocked both of them, but I had not talked to them for like a week, right? Because the drama just kept going and everybody around me fed into it. Like when you pay attention to like dad talk and how dad talk like feeds into Dakota's bullshit and feeds into making Taylor feel like she's crazy, that's what was happening to me. And everybody around me is like, you should just leave him. Why can't you leave him? They belong together. You just need to let it go. Like creating this cycle, right? And
To
then,
take your pain.
and then when I would react, so there was a situation, 100%. And I'm going to explain it because this to me is not as serious, but it gives a good example without using the term. A situation, I had went to work and it was like my last day. It was so bad that I actually had to request a month off of work. It was like my last day. I hadn't seen them. He saw me. He was just chit chatting with me for a second because we'd been together 8 years. Like we met when we were teenagers. She texts my phone and she goes, "I thought you weren't talking to me anymore. I just saw you guys talking to each other." And I'm like, he was asking me a question and I answered the question and I went to go do my job. And she keeps bugging me and bugging me. So I get frustrated. The reaction, right? There's the backstory. The backstory is she's literally pressing on my buttons. This is
Yeah.
my reaction because at this point, I'm just reactive. I'm just reactionary. I go and I tell him, I'm like, "Can I talk to you for a second?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You need to check your bitch." No, I didn't say bitch. I said, "You need to check your girl or I will." Says, "Okay." She messaged me again. "Why did you pull him aside?" Over and over. I'm working. Why aren't you
Yeah.
responding quick enough? All of these things. Then I respond. Then I was like, okay, he's not doing what I told him to do. I'm going to do it. I go back and I look at it now. At any point in time, if someone would have recorded these parts, I would have looked like the aggressor. And that is how it was perceived because no one saw the text messages, plural, throughout the entire shift. So I walk in and I tell her, you and I need to talk. When this is done, we need to talk. In my mind, as a responsible adult, even though at this time I'm 23, she's
Mhm.
32. I'm like,
Wow.
okay, it's insane. I'm like, okay, we need to talk means like when you're done working and when I'm done working, let's have a
Yeah.
conversation. She follows me into the hallway immediately, cornering me and starts to have a conversation. And then keeps prodding at me and keeps prodding at me and keeps prodding me. And then decides to say, well, if you're going to be a bitch then. This is in California. I live in Michigan. You don't call people bitches in Michigan unless you want to get hit. But I didn't hit her. I said, all right, well, if you want to be a hoe then. She got real upset about that. Under the definition of a hoe, you sleeping with my man. Anyways, I walk away. Cause again, I'm not gonna get caught up in this. This is where how you paint the story changes things. He goes and tells people, she's calling me a hoe. She's calling me a hoe. Comes up and then tries to confront me and fight me in the back of the house.
Tell
I'm not
me
about
you
to risk.
hit her.
No, I'm never gonna risk my job. I'm never gonna risk my job. I got into it. I'm like, y'all need to keep her away from me. Again, if everybody looking at that situation would have looked at me and been like, yo, they called me Tifa at that time. Yo, Tifa is crazy, right? Because they didn't see any of this. Leave, whatever. Then the reaction comes. I get on Snapchat and I'm like, oh, you wanted to fight me so bad. I'm not gonna fight you at work, but you can meet me on this corner real quick and we can scrap. All of a sudden, how dare you say that? That's so mean. Why would you want, you're threatening her. We can call the police. Like, this is what this is what we're trying to say. Bigger picture. At any point in time in that situation, on my reactions, people could have pressed record and I would have looked crazy and like the instigator and the one trying to attack. You don't see the invisible, right? You don't see the text messages. You don't see the words being said. You don't see the months of torture that I went through from these people to get me to the point where I had to request a month off of work. And that is my frustration. Like, long story, but like, that is my frustration about this. Cause when we're talking about this, what we're asking people to see is not just the reaction, but the behavior that caused the
Exactly.
reaction. And
And go
no,
ahead.
but
And first, I'm sorry that you went through that, and I commend you for never having physically reacted because I don't know that I would have expressed the same restraint.
I think the only reason why I didn't was because I felt at that point I had at least learned a little bit of control over my personality a little bit. But I also feared that if I did, I would have blacked out.
Yeah, yeah.
But sorry, continue.
No, and the other thing I wanna say is, explaining behavior
Mhm.
is not the same as excusing behavior, and I think that's what so many people are really getting tripped up on, that nobody's saying, "Give her a free pass." Nobody's saying, "Don't hold her accountable for her actions." All anybody like us are trying to say is understands that that 30-second clip is not the entire picture. And then going back to The Bachelorette being canceled,
Mhm.
and Hulu now, I'm sure if they haven't, they're threatening to kick her off the show or, whatever. This was not new information. ABC, The Bachelorette, Hulu knew who she was,
They picked her because of who she
everything
was.
about her past, and what they were signing on for.
Mhm.
So to now villainize her because a very unfortunate video surfaced, and for them to not stand behind her and say, "Oh, actually, we knew about this and we picked her anyway, and she didn't go off on our cameras, so we're gonna go ahead and air the show." I mean, it's such a double standard
Mhm.
to then not call out the, "Okay, we're gonna hold her accountable. Fine, fair. You wanna cancel her show? Do it. If that's the punishment you think she deserves, I don't know the network to say otherwise." Where are we holding him accountable?
Like,
And this Dakota, where are we holding all the men and accusers of domestic violence and then some accountable?
you wanna
Well,
hear
we're
it?
because we'd have to cancel the NFL and
Mhm.
the NBA
The
and even the
election.
PA, and we'd have to dismantle the government.
Mhm.
And one hill that I've always died on, and I've always felt like an outsider for this, is why was Chris Brown never canceled? I've never understood it. But what people say back to me is because she forgave him at the time. So
Let
when
me t
she forgave him, sorry, can I just let me just
No, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
so when she forgave him, it made everybody else think, okay, it's fine. We can still listen to our favorite song. Under that logic, which I'm not saying I agree with, but if we're following that logic, the Chris Brown logic, Dakota went on to have a child with her after this video when she apparently posed such a threat to her own child that he's now, saying she's this horrible person. Yet post video, he went on to reproduce.
He went on to reproduce, he went on to sabotage, he went on to sleep with her right before she went on The Bachelorette, he went on to message her and say, "Hey, save a rose for me."
Baby
Like,
Rose.
let's
The hypocrisy. Again, you want to hold her accountable, you want to cancel her shit,
I'm
whatever.
gonna I'm gonna bring
Do
this
you
I'm gonna talk yeah, I'm
go,
gonna touch
go,
on the Chris
go
Brown
ahead.
part, but I'm gonna bring this. There is, um there's a show called The Traitors. I don't like the show. I think the show it just makes you hate the world we live in. Like, I don't think that it's a
Do we need another reason to?
no, then which is why I had stopped. I had only watched it for one person, and then I stopped when right around the time they left. Um, his name was Colton. Colton was a bachelor.
I've seen this name, but so I'm
Oh,
really
yeah.
curious about, yeah.
Colton is now a gay male. Colton was then, quote unquote, not a gay male. Now, his accounts on this situation vary. Sometimes he says that he discovered after. Sometimes he said he was in the closet for decades and decades. I personally think that he knew what he was.
Mhm.
He was also he calls himself a former NFL player. He never played the game. I think he knew what he was from the beginning. And I think that he got caught up in a culture and he wanted to do things to protect that image and he used women to do it.
Mhm.
He used women. Like, if you want to have a beard, I don't give a shit. Just tell them that they're your beard.
Right.
So he falls in love with this woman, is chaotic, jumps an entire fence, like to protest, gets with her. They break up. He then proceeds to stalk her, to stand outside of her house and her friends' houses and watch her, to send her threatening text messages to harass her via text message, and also to send her and himself text messages from an unknown number, pretending as if they were both being harassed by the same person. And it was him the entire time. This man has then gone on to have Netflix reality shows. He has an underwear commercial that is being shown on Peacock right now and was on The Traders. So this is someone from the Bachelor franchise. So
Yeah.
not only if we're talking about the world's not holding people accountable or double standard, this is a double standard within the entire franchise.
Mhm.
Secondly, I get into so many fights, specifically with Black women about Chris Brown, and it irks my soul because I love y'all to death. I really do, but y'all some of the dumbest people when it comes to attractive light skinned men. Also, when people get mad about Chris Brown and they only mention Rihanna, let's be clear. Chris Brown has been accused of um, beating up, what is his name? Frank Ocean, holding a gun to Frank Ocean. He has
Yeah.
been accused of beating up people in the clubs. He's been accused of doing racist things. He's banned from countries, plural. There's the whole Carucci case that
That
existed
name. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
that people don't pay attention to. He's also been accused of grabbing women by their hair, by their ponytails, threatening. It has never stopped. Um, and that is, and no one has ever truly held him accountable. That man actually got a documentary to defend his behavior. And he got a
Wow.
full, and I can't confirm this, but if you watch that documentary, that man looked high the entire time. How am I supposed to trust that like, where's your PR team? They probably couldn't control you. But yeah, we don't hold men to, and everyone's like, y'all are always coming for men, hold men responsible. Now it's your, it's like, no, you guys aren't held responsible. You aren't held responsible in the slightest. You guys do so many terrible things every day. Like the disproportionate amount of women that are victims of domestic abuse versus men should be an indicator. There is no accountability because what you want from her, she already did. What you want is just to punish her for every girl that you thought was a little bit crazy, that was a little bit insane, or more importantly, gave what she got. Because let's be clear, in the Mormon culture, this Jordan talks about this on when he talks to Jesse when they're on Secret Life of Mormon Wives. A lot of the Mormon men's like, you're supposed to, you know, submit, you're supposed to obey. That's dumb. Taylor Frankie Paul does not strike me as someone who ever did that.
No.
So
Which is why she struggles so much in the environment that
she's in.
happened. Yeah. Which we could do an entire 10 episodes on the Mormon culture because I am so fascinated that it is still a thing in 2026. And
Like
a lack of accountability. I mean, the entire,
church. Like what?
like, jeez.
It's insane. But like I think what Dakota's the most upset about is that she gives as good as she gets.
No, I actually think that's what he gets off on.
Do you?
Yeah. I
Well,
he likes getting her
I
to
think
that
you know
because I think then he she gets so low on herself believing that she is this crazy unlovable shell that
mhm.
then she's like, "Oh, thank God he still wants me and still loves me in spite of this."
I
And
will
did you watch Tell Me Lies on
I
Hulu?
haven't look, I avoid that show screamed toxic, triggering, I don't need to watch it.
It
I've
is,
seen
but
it,
it is
but
a not real life Dakota and
yeah,
Taylor Paul.
I've been
And
seeing
I
that a
mean,
lot.
that girl on the show, Lucy, for the listeners that do know what I'm talking about, she at by the end was making terrible decisions and again screwed up in her own right. I am not defending her actions or her behavior. But he was very much the villain that enjoyed pushing.
Watching her.
Yeah, watching her destroy herself. And he would literally say, and now this is a scripted show, so we get to see both sides.
Yeah.
And he would literally say, I know everything terrible about you and I still love you, but all these other men that you're with,
They're
they don't
never gonna want you.
love you. So they're never gonna really love you. So
Let me
that is my take on Dakota.
it's so I wanna say this because we're gonna get kind of to the close of things soon. some more of the things that I've noticed, or that was said. It was said on the podcast, Call Her Daddy, that there's several times that it's questionable that Dakota chose now to report because there's several times that he could, and there were several times that she could. So this is an indicator that both of them are engaged in this cycle. Another interesting thing to note was right before all of this happened, she was spotted with the one who ended up winning the Bachelorette. And it is speculated that the video that posted right before or after, right after she went to the Grammys, was a guy pushing her, was of him, was of Doug, not of Dakota. And I think that whatever happened or didn't happen in that February incident was probably Taylor's last straw.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she looked at herself and was like, this person is never going to stop doing this to you, and you're never going to stop looking this certain way if you continue in this cycle. And again, I still truly believe that there are a lot of things that he does on purpose to get her to that point, and then goes like, see, look what she did to me. But it's interesting to,
Let me make sure I understand what you're saying, because I think I agree with you. But so what
Mhm.
you're saying is this recent February accusation that, again, coincidentally didn't come out until March, the week of the premiere. You're saying you think she was really done with him that night. He kind of realizing, oh shit, she's done. Like, it's different this time. I might not be able to reel her back in. The only thing now I can think to do to really destroy her is to drop this video.
Yeah, I think that like whatever happened, I truly believe that that incident that he reports involved both of them.
Uh-huh.
I think that after the second, like the two, because they're supposed to say it's 2 days, right? I think that after the second day, I think it's 22nd, 23rd, 24th. I think after the second day, there's something that someone told me. She was involved in a domestic violence situation. Um, and she had friends who were, she got out, her friend didn't. Um, she said, you're never over it and you're never done until you're done. And I think that whatever happened in that specific situation, seeing that as Jesse said on Call Her Daddy, there were several times that both of them could have reported, but they didn't because they were still in it in some capacity. You know, a lot of people are trying to speculate that Dakota was over it, but it's interesting to note that there's parallels to what happened because the same day the video releases, the same day that Jordan files for divorce from Jesse, even though they had already talked about it, they weren't going to. These are all things that she says. They talked about it, they had a conversation about it. They weren't, she's the one who asked for the divorce, but Jordan goes to TMZ and lets them know that he's divorcing her. Um, Jordan and Dakota's movements are very mirrored, and they're very, ironically, reactionary to the women in their life deciding, because Jordan was emotionally abusive to Jesse. She
Hmm.
just responded differently.
Yes.
Um, and, but they're like, first of all, these two are friends, and you always got to pay attention to who you're, like, I stand by this statement. Pay
Company you keep.
attention to the
Hmm.
company, not only the company keep, like, you could have like associates or distant friends, but like the people that you call your closest friend, like, pay attention to that. Um, I think that in Jordan's case, Jordan was fed up and he didn't want her to have the narrative and he wanted to gain some control. And I think in Dakota's case, Dakota was fed up and he wanted the narrative and he wanted to have the control. And both women in this situation took it away from them because they're both friends too, right? So they're both having conversations probably too, like, let's just be done. Like, woman pact, this is not good for us. Let's both of us just walk away. We'll keep each other accountable. Like, and that's the difference. These two women are like, let's walk away. Whatever happened, leave it. And they're walking away. This isn't okay. I don't have control over the narrative.
Control. Yeah.
So I think that he saw it. He saw the other videos that he posted. He saw that she was going to the Grammys. He saw that she was living her life
Hmm.
happily. And he probably tried to, on the Grammys, he probably tried to blackmail her. Probably. He probably tried to blackmail on the Grammys and she didn't respond because on several podcasts, Macy and Michaela have said that whenever she has an event coming up, Dakota sabotages us and he hurts her and he says things and he causes fights. He probably tried to do the same thing. And She was like, I'm still going to the Grammys, or not the Grammys, it was the Oscars. I'm still going to the Oscars.
Mhm.
And right the next day, the
'Cause to your
next
point, she was done. Yeah.
the next day is when everything comes out.
Mhm.
So I think he was in cahoots with TMZ from the beginning. And they were like, Jen, like, when can we drop this out? And then I think he saw certain things and he's like, no, we're doing this now. And on top of us doing this, here's more information. Here's everything that I can give you. Let's start a smear campaign. And while we're in the era of the Blake Lively situation that's going on that everybody just tries to ignore as well, we can't pretend that smear campaigns aren't a real thing anymore. They're
No.
huge. And
Well,
Dakota is
I love how part of it too is having all the men from The Bachelorette offer their spin on things. I'm like, I'm sorry. Accuse me of something and then get 20 men that I rejected to be my character witness?
like, that's insane. There's no way.
What?
Yeah, uh, I'm literally making a shirt right now that's gonna say certified man hater. I
I'm gonna
love
need
men. I got you. I was originally trying to, like, do it myself, and I just don't think I have that ability to do it myself, so I'm working on saving money so I can print it, but I got you. It's super cute. I'll outside of here, I'll send you what it looks like. Because everybody calls me a man hater, and I just even, like, my mom and my dad have both been like, "I know you don't hate men. You don't like the behavior of men, but you don't hate men," and I'm like, "Look, the internet's gonna take it however they wanna take it or whatever. Imma let it be." All of that to say, the way in which I will never listen to what a man has to say about a woman, specifically when they're scorned. Like, you're upset. Here's the thing, you're blaming her. You should be blaming Dakota. Like, this is my thing about men. You're mad at her. The person you should be like, men get mad at me for calling out their behavior. You should be mad at the men doing it. Like, why are you mad at me? Why aren't you mad at him? Why aren't you mad at Dakota for organizing a smear campaign against Taylor that's fucked up everything for all of you? And also, the person who picked her or who she picked, Doug, came out in defense of her.
Yeah.
That's telling. To me, that is no one has came out and no female has came out in the defense of Dakota.
Yeah.
Not his ex-wife. His ex-wife admits that he used to abuse her.
I saw a friend's statement about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
No one has come out to defend Dakota
Mm-mm.
except for his bros. The members of Dad Talk who in season 4, everybody was like, this is not what we signed up for.
Which if you're on TikTok, just a plea, can we just not make dad talk a thing? Can we just block the account so they're not getting the views? I mean, like, come on.
We don't want the merch. We don't want the shirts. We don't
There's
want
not
the hats.
way that like the women of TikTok can somehow band together against dad talk without
Like,
giving them any more, you know,
also,
attention. Like everyone just secretly block them. So then their views and everything just drop.
why is Dakota, Jordan, and Chase like your main contributor? Those are the 3 worst people in this crew.
Right.
If
But
there is a if there's a dad talk, can it just be Whitney's lavender husband, please?
he's
Doing
making
magic.
back, and I don't like to like him, but he's they both like I used to hate them, and now
I
they're coming back around.
I think that the only reason why Whitney is more palatable is because she's getting what she wants. I'm
Mhm,
just I think that I mean, I also think that she found an environment where she can shine,
mhm.
which is beautiful and lovely for her. But I think one of the reasons why she is she's operating as if this is a business.
Yeah,
So she's not
and
showing her it is. She's not showing her real self. She is acting as if she's an actress now. And that's why you guys like her more because she is operating as if she's always auditioning for a role.
mhm,
And there's no hate to that. That's not reality.
not authentic. Yeah,
And I do think that there were, first of all, I'm not going to spend all my time bringing down a woman. Winnie looks great. Winnie
she does.
looks fantastic. When she had
Her
the
hair color's finally right.
When she had the like in the first season, in the first episode, when she went to Jesse and Jesse dyed her hair orange and it was like, this is beautiful for you. And then the next episode, because they took a break because of the whole situation, she comes back with a different hair color. And I was like, no, honey, this washes you out entirely. And
Yeah.
when she finally goes back to the orange, I'm like, "This is beautiful." And I'm not saying that being fit is the epitome of beauty, but you can tell it she's glowing.
She's just at her peak. Yeah.
She's doing what she wanted to do. Did she have to backstab a whole bunch of people to do it? Yeah. Is she more palatable now? Because she doesn't have to backstab a whole bunch of people to do it anymore. She's just getting it. And, the whole side note, the whole you didn't congratulate me when you found out that I got Chicago was so weird to me because you didn't tell me. You knew, like in an argument, and I think that Jen is obviously a little jealous. She's young. She's younger than most of them. She has a lot to work through. Um, there's obviously, she some of the stuff with Dancing with the Stars really hit her heart, which is why it's like it's not fair. I found out while I was like at my lowest with Dancing with the Stars, and like I'm trying to figure out me, and you want me to reach out to congratulate you, and we're really not that good of friends. And when you told me, I congratulated you.
Yeah.
Was she a little petty when she was talking to her husband? Yes, I love that for Jen. But when Whitney told her, she congratulated you. And Whitney trying to be like, we're so close. And she's like, no, you actually, and like, that's the part they forget about Whitney specifically. Whitney did 100% betray Jen. Whitney traded up. She used Jen to get back in Montauk. And
Yeah.
then as soon as she couldn't use Jen anymore, she went to Demi. And Jen has a point. If you're going to be friends with Demi,
Yeah.
when nobody else in this group is, after she's done everything to all this group, I'm
Especially behavior.
I'm gonna hold you at a distance because who you keep as friends says everything about you.
Yeah.
All right, there's so much, and we could talk about this
We
forever
could.
because there's literally so much. But I do wanna, before we get out of here, talk about like the real social implications of what's happening and how it's affecting real life victims. I think it's important to note that obviously I've said that Dakota isn't thinking about how this is affecting or triggering. It was very triggering for me. Um, my best friend who committed suicide, um, right after a fight that she had had with her husband the night of, which the fight was so bad that she had messaged a friend to go stay with them because of how bad, and that's not who she is at all. Like she would never do that, to go stay with them because of just how bad it was. They were involved in a abusive cycle themselves. Um, and she reminded me a lot of Taylor, right? Like in not personality wise, but in this situation, it was like a mirror. And I was watching all these people attack Taylor Frankie Paul, and it felt like they were attacking my best friend. And I was like, this is why my best friend never came out, never said anything. Potentially, maybe one of the contributors to why she did what she did was because she knew that if she said what was going on, if she admitted, if she told her family, if she told her friends, that this was the kind of response that she could get. And I think that while people are trying to say things like mental health matters and we have to care about those things, it doesn't really matter because you guys aren't even holding each other accountable and you're doing the actions to like harm yourself more. But not every case is cut and dry. Not everything is black and white. And the reason why we are villainizing Taylor so much is because she's not the perfect victim. She's not who we imagine a victim would be. She is clearly going through mental illness, especially in the video. Um, and like I've said before, if the police would have handled this correctly, and this goes into like police reform, if they would know, if they would have social workers, we talked about this, come to the scene of domestic violence cases, then things could have happened differently. She could have gotten help. And um, but also she's not the perfect, like she's having an emotional breakdown in front of all of us and we're judging her. So you can't say that mental health matters because when she's not the girl in the corner crying, looking out the window.
Yeah.
That's what you want to see when you think of an emotional breakdown.
Right.
You don't want to see the other side. Um, but I just think it's important for us to really these are real people.
Mhm.
And not only are they real people, but they are real people who are on a screen that mirror real people and real situations. And what you do and what you say on social media doesn't just hurt the person you shot it at, it often hurts other people who are in that situation as well.
Exactly. And domestic violence is so much more common than people think.
Mhm,
And I even wanna broaden the term a little bit and more say domestic abuse because I
mhm.
do really want to include
All
emotional,
abuse.
mental abuse, and financial abuse is not discussed
Oh,
enough. That, I
mm-mm,
know time to get into that today, but that is a huge, huge, huge thing. If you don't know somebody that's in a uh, domestic abusive situation, um, it's likely because you're not viewed as a safe person that they can come to.
yeah.
Because I promise you, I don't know the statistics off the top of my head. I know for women that have been sexually assaulted, I think it's like, 1 of 4 or 1 of 5 women or, astronomical number. Um, but I'm confident that domestic violence numbers are just as high. And so, yeah, I'd say that if you haven't been in the situation and don't know somebody in the situation, it's because you're not opening your eyes or they don't feel like they can come to you because it's a real, real thing. I've been a very, very close third party to way too many situations, 2 of which involved the police, one of which involved me running over with my gun because I was closer than the police, and I
Mhm,
don't know if that was the right move, but it was that heightened of a situation, and I don't regret what I did, and I think for those that might be feeling like this is a setback, in, believing women and victims that are in these circumstances to not be discouraged and to know that there are people that will believe you. Don't go to the comment section, you
mm-mm,
know? And I'm sorry that that's anyone's experience that feels like they maybe can't speak up or won't be believed. I know when I went through it, even just as a very close friend, I called the domestic violence hotline myself. I
mhm,
didn't know if that was appropriate at the time, but I felt so at a loss for the safety of, my friend. And they were a fantastic resource. So I would tell anybody, whether they're a close friend or in that situation themselves, not to hesitate to reach out. I did look up the number since I knew I was gonna mention it. It's,
mhm,
1-800-799-7233. They can also provide local resources
mhm,
because I think what this situation has proven is that a lot of times, even if it is both of them, there's not a lot that the police can do at that exact moment in time. In one of the situations that I was in, they did arrest the man. And then he bailed himself out and went right back to the house. And I don't
and
say that to scare anyone, I say that to prepare you to leave, to go somewhere else, In another situation that I was in, I was physically there to put her and her children in my car and get them a hotel for that night, but the police didn't have enough to arrest him and wouldn't make him leave their home that he had a right to, a legal right to. So you have to have a plan in place and know that there are resources available, and the domestic violence hotline is where you should start.
yeah. I will also say I've been a victim of abuse. I've watched someone be a victim of abuse, and I've gotten away. I've known someone who's gotten away, and I know someone who didn't. And that's the very real reality of the situation that we don't really talk about is that you either get out or you don't. Um, Also, as someone who witnessed it, for the friends, it's gonna be so frustrating. And for me, imagine me growing up the way that I did, and then it happens to my friend. One of the things that I made sure that I never did was I never judged her when she told me. I never said I would never be like, "You need to divorce him." I would often say things like, "You should take a break. Let's go come visit me for a couple of days."
Incest. Yeah.
Yeah, like, because if you tell like as much as it sucks for you, and it does, and if you need to take mental breaks, do, but always remember, as much as it sucks for you, it sucks for them worse. As much as you are frustrated that they can't leave, they too are. Like, they're not sitting in this relationship being like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so happy again." They're always ruminating on that, and what someone needs is someone who is gonna bail them out, gonna be there for them, and not gonna judge them.
No. I tell
No,
my friends all the time. Now, I'm very direct. I'm a straight shooter, and
me
if
too.
even if I can hold it in my mouth, you can see it all on my face. There is not enough Botox in the world to hide what I am feeling and
Yeah.
thinking. But I always tell my friends, I'm like, "I am always going to be honest with you, whether you wanna hear it or not, but I'm
Mhm.
never gonna judge you for your decisions,
No,
ever."
no. And I think that in that statement, we should, to bring it all in and to end it, in that statement, we should take a step back before we judge Taylor Frankie Paul, without looking at the entire picture. And even as much as I hate to say it, even Dakota, because as much as I do not like Dakota and I think he is a narcissist manipulator, narcissists aren't born, they're created. Whereas we talked about the Mormon church, the Mormon breeds narcissist or narcissistic personalities, because there's a difference, right?
And this really toxic masculinity
Yeah.
culture.
There has to be an examination of the overarching thing, and we should also spend time, like, I dislike Dakota. I dislike what he's done. I'm making statements about it, but you have never heard me say, "I hope Dakota burns in,
He gets the help he needs and has the day he deserves.
and I hope he stays away from her. I hope they can finally stay away from each other." But just be kind. And this is gonna sound crazy, but specifically be kind to women, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, why women?" And that is because women with a severe imbalance are more hated, are more judged, are more criticized, have to uphold the standards of society that men don't have to, and that's not a safe place for them to exist in. Um, and yeah, I think that we could all learn from this situation in general. And I think that we could all learn how to be better humans if we look at the situation instead of just wanting one person to be at blame for all of it. Everything in the world isn't black and white.
No, I agree.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you for responding to my thread and coming to talk to me. I loved everything that you had to say. I think that it was so important. I'm
Thank
so sorry that, like I said, I'm happy that people who are judging Taylor Frankie Paul are judging her because they don't know. I'm so sorry that you know, and I'm so sorry to everybody else who knows.
Yes, and same to you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Gabby Gabs podcast.